Mohamed Salah or Arne Slot. It has now got to the stage where there is a binary choice. It is only Mohamed Salah or Arne Slot. There is no way that those two will be able to work together again. We really do need to explore this. It is a fascinating issue, something that we really do need to get our teeth into. And the man to help me do it is the wonderful Ollie Klink. Welcome, sir.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Ollie, there's so much to talk about here. Mohamed Salah's interview. The fact that he has decided to go and adopt this position in the media, an unsanctioned interview from his club, presumably. They can't have anticipated what he was going to say off the back of a dreadful result for his club. I think that the situation is now untenable, don't you?
I think it's absolutely astonishing, first of all. And also, it's the fact that it's come after 3 games in which he's been dropped. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't exactly been him out of the side for 7 or 8 games. Yeah. And what he's had to say is so undermining to Slot, to his teammates. I honestly, I'm truly kind of flabbergasted by it all.
In terms of who's in the right and who's in the wrong, I would argue, looking at it strictly through the lens of football, if Liverpool are to find rhythm, if Liverpool are to win games of football, I would always argue that the way that they do that is by having Mohamed Salah in the team. There is no way that anyone can convince me that you are more likely to beat Liverpool if Salah is on the bench. Liverpool are a better team with Salah in it. Do you agree?
He has been so out of form. And I think the other argument is that, I know that what he's achieved is absolutely amazing. He is obviously a club legend. He has done so much for that club. What is it? 188 Premier League goals, 88 assists. So I see where you're coming from. But if a player's out of form, Rory, a player's out of form. Liverpool haven't been winning games. In fact, they've had some dreadful results recently. They've lost heavily at home to Forest. They messed up against Leeds. There's all sorts of games we could go into. And for me, a key part of that wasn't just the shoddy defending, but it was also in some of the other games where Salah has been playing, he hasn't been good enough in attack.
No, I agree. And look, listen, I don't think Mohamed Salah is completely innocent here. I think that what he has done is disloyal. I think the way that he's approached this is disloyal. However,
it's mutiny, isn't it? It is.
It is to a degree. However, what we need to try and understand is Salah's point of view here. And Slot's, we need to see it from both sides. But whilst I agree that there is an element of disloyalty in Salah doing what he's done, what we need to explore is there justification for it?
Well, what I was going to ask you, do you think that because of what he's achieved, Mo Salah, because of his status, does actually have the right to come out and make this kind of statement? Because that would make him bigger than the club.
To a degree, I wouldn't agree with your second part of the sentence. I wouldn't agree that it makes him bigger than the club. But I would agree that when you are Mohamed Salah, or Steven Gerrard, or Frank Lampard, or Alan Shearer in Newcastle's case for you, you don't actually play by the same rules as Endo, or Jason McAteer, or Darren Peacock, or Gavin Peacock, if we're going to go down the bird route, right? You don't play by the same rules. And whilst I agree that Mohamed Salah probably shouldn't have done it in the way that he has, his point is a very interesting one because he is arguing, well, in fact, you are arguing that he's been out of form. And the implication that you're saying is he's been out of form, therefore he's been dropped, therefore it's fair enough. Fine. Let's pretend that that's fine. Arne Slot is a meritocratic manager. He's a manager that if you are out of form, regardless of who you are, you're dropped. So if you are one of Liverpool's best ever players, Mohamed Salah, and you're out of form, you're dropped. He didn't extend that same theory to other players that are out of form. So Gakpo's not having a good season.
Yeah.
He seems to be an ever-present in the team. Ibrahim Konate is arguably the worst centre-half in the league.
Well, I mean,
it's a calamity, right? Yeah. It's a calamity. If Salah's out of form, so's Konate. So Konate needs to come out of the team. There is clearly an issue that goes beyond football, and Salah has paid the price for something away from the game.
Do you think as well, because he was talking about promises that he felt had been broken too, do you think, like you say, it does stretch back a bit further than this? Do you think there might even be an element of going back to, let's say, the transfer of Alexander Isak, coming in for such huge money, when Salah had achieved what he'd achieved last season? I think I saw Nicky Butt talk about this, and he was talking about title-winning sides and said the last thing sometimes you should do is bring too much change in and almost bring in a player that is going to be a threat to the guy who was pulling up trees last season, who was easily the best player. Do you almost think that some of the business that Liverpool did irked Salah because he'd just been given this big contract. He might be sitting there thinking, well, I thought I was going to be the main man again.
I think the transfer strategy might have infuriated him. I think he would know more than anyone. Football man, right? Football icon. He would know where Liverpool need to strengthen, and he would probably think that Isak and Ekitike wouldn't be the priority positions. He probably knows that the centre-half issue was a problem. So I think he could have been frustrated by that. But what I think he was more frustrated by was sitting out, being left out of the squad for the third time in a row when Liverpool, they got a draw against Sunderland. It's not, if they win each game 4-0, then maybe Salah doesn't have a leg to stand on here. But they're not. They're not. They're drawing with Leeds, they're drawing with Sunderland.
The only thing I would say, though, was him getting dropped against West Ham wasn't a shock for me. It just wasn't a shock. In days gone by, that would be huge news. It would be seismic that Salah's been left out of this team. But I'm sorry, but if you base it on how badly he's played this season, I wasn't sitting there thinking, wow, Slot's made a huge call there. And that's why I felt that this statement, it's like I said right at the top, it's only been 3 games.
Yeah.
And he kind of deserves to be on the bench.
It's such a shame, this, for Liverpool fans, don't you think?
It is.
Like, if you're a Liverpool fan, this is such an ugly ending. Is it an ending? Is it definitely an ending?
Could be.
It could be. But, if you think about Cristiano Ronaldo is what, 41?
Yeah.
I imagine that at some point he'll think about retiring. The Saudi Pro League needs another superstar. It feels like the natural passing of the baton, right? So if this is the end of Mohamed Salah's Liverpool career, it's such an ugly ending to such a glittering career.
I actually think the only way that this isn't the ending is if Slot goes and potentially a new manager comes in and goes, right, well,
You're the main man.
You're my main man. You're coming back in the side.
As soon as you're back from AFCON, we will build a team around you. You've got a 2-year contract. Let's honour it. Let's win a league title together.
Who do you think is more valuable to Liverpool, Slot or Salah, at the moment?
Salah. Sorry, I was weighing it up, but the reason I was giving it such due diligence there is because I thought that it was such an obvious question that maybe there was something I was missing.
Even though he seems to be in this kind of not twilight of his career, but it's catching up with him now. It's such an explosive.
But Ollie, this time last year he was the best player in the world. This time last year, it's not. Honestly, I remember sitting on this very channel. I remember working with you on TalkSport, and I was honestly having a conversation, and nobody was contesting it. By the way, Mohamed Salah was the best player in the world. We were arguing, what's the better version of Salah? Salah 2019, 2020 maybe, 2020 probably, or last year's Salah. We were actually having a debate. He kind of had twin peaks, and people could say that the cut and thrust blitzkrieg player that played on the opposite wing to Mane under Klopp's rock and roll football was the best version of Salah. And then I could have said, actually no, this more silky, more considered, calmer version of Salah, where he is finding the back of the net but equally finding teammates cleverly, is a better version. That was 12 months ago.
Yeah. Do you know what else won't help as well? Did you see the comments that Slot made before their last game, where he was talking about Isak, and he said that they needed to find a player of the profile of Jacob Murphy in order to help Alexander Isak? And I know that he's obviously talking about Isak there, but that is an absolutely astonishing thing to say. And
but you see, that kind of chat is ridiculous.
Imagine being Mo Salah and hearing that.
Yeah,
seriously.
I know.
I'm not surprised he's annoyed. To be honest.
But you see, this is what we now understand. He said, didn't he, that he has no relationship with Arne Slot. Like, the relationship with Arne Slot is gone.
Yeah.
So it's untenable. He is basically... I don't see how he can play for Liverpool again if Slot is the manager.
No, neither. And actually, I think now, it's like we've just said, I think the club do need to decide what is more valuable. And actually, with the results the way that they are, it seems like a bit of a mess behind the scenes. I think a lot of fans are frustrated, as you brought up, with the fact that Gakpo still gets in the team over Chiesa. Konate continues to start. I mean, even earlier when he was saying that he was playing players out of form, talking about Isak, because he has to get them up to fitness rather than playing his best team that's going to win him games. I just think he's got so many things wrong, and I think what we're seeing potentially with Slot is, if you look obviously further back in his career, he's almost only had success, including last season with winning the league. And it feels very much like this is the first time he's in this kind of situation, but it's at a club the size of Liverpool, and all these moving parts are just swallowing him whole. And I just think
I think Salah
a
is
good out for the club is to get rid of Slot, to be honest.
the easiest thing is to get rid of Slot, and it's the more justifiable thing. Salah scored 250 goals for the club, won 2 league titles, European Cup. Like, the more justifiable thing. Like, do you know what I try and do? I'm not always very good at this, but I always try and analyse things in a less biased way, and I try and make it personal, right? If this was Lampard at Chelsea, and a new manager had come in, Conte, and won the league, and Conte and Lampard had fallen out, I would have called any Chelsea fan who backed the new manager over the club icon, I would have called them a Judas.
Do you think that's where Liverpool fans are at here? Who do you think that are Liverpool fans frustrated with Mo Salah? Because the other thing you could say is there is, as I said, there are so many things going wrong at the moment. They're way down in the league, not in a title race, drawing and losing to some of the poorer teams in the league. So are they looking at this going, Mo, what are you doing? Like you're just stoking the fire.
Yeah, I think
you're causing more trouble.
People will be frustrated with, even if your loyalty is 100% with Liverpool, and I feel like Salah is probably more right than wrong. I think anything that goes public is probably not the best thing to do, and Salah didn't have to make this public. So on that front, he's got it wrong, in my opinion. But what he's saying isn't wrong, I don't think.
Yeah, and it's funny though, isn't it, with him? Because he's obviously done this before. It was West Ham last season when he said, if I speak, there'll be fire. Yeah. He chooses his moments, doesn't he? Yeah. He hardly ever does interviews unless he has something to say.
Makes it more powerful.
Yeah.
But I just think that they're going to have to say, and if they do, how this plays out, the only way this can play out is Mohamed Salah has played his last game for Liverpool. That's one way this plays out. The alternative way that this plays out is Steven Gerrard is the Liverpool manager.
Interim? Or becomes the manager? Interim.
Jurgen Klopp is back.
Well, I mean...
Jurgen Klopp and Gerrard is... Hang on, have I just stumbled upon it?
What?
Jurgen Klopp and Steven Gerrard as the assistant manager.
As the assistant?
Yeah, because the other guy's gone to City.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But, I mean, let's be honest. Jurgen Klopp coming back as the interim is the dream, isn't it? Really,
I think for a Liverpool fan,
absolutely.
I feel like they're more reluctant to Gerrard. But if I were a Liverpool fan and I make these decisions with emotion, which is probably wrong, but I'd always want Gerrard to be my manager if I was a Liverpool fan.
I mean this based on Gerrard's managerial record. Is going for Steven Gerrard as your interim potentially writing off any success this season?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, do you think Steven Gerrard could win this Liverpool team a trophy, even though it's in such a mess?
Yeah.
And what?
I've seen it with my own eyes, that's why.
With
Di Matteo. Sometimes when you have excellent players, you need a unifying force.
Does Gerrard have the managerial ability to turn... I mean, look at
Ollie. Look at the example. Look at the example that I'm using.
Canate,
look at the example.
Look at Gakpo. They're all out of form.
Yes, but sometimes what you need, if the club is in as much disharmony as is being suggested by this public fallout, like remember the fact that Mohamed Salah has come to the forefront, given an interview where he has said that he feels like the club are throwing him under the bus. He has effectively ended his relationship with Slot. He says that they have no relationship. This hasn't happened yesterday. This is a cumulative feeling of that has been boiling up, and is, in a pressure cooker sense, has come to a crescendo now, right? What we can, I think, believe and read between the lines is that there is major disharmony and unrest in the camp. Sometimes what you need isn't a beautiful tactician. Sometimes what you need is a unifier. Someone that comes in and goes, lads, this season isn't over. Something amazing can happen this season. Actually, something historic can happen this season. And Gerrard could be that man.
Can I ask you something? When you said there that you feel that this maybe goes beyond Salah and that there's more disharmony in this dressing room, you could turn round to that and actually say that Salah's made this all about him. That he's been, selfish in this instance. And when I say the word selfish, like we've said, maybe he has the right to do that because of what he's achieved. But is there an element where actually Salah's all out for himself, potentially wanting to get a move away from Liverpool anyway? So does this disharmony really spread throughout the whole camp, or is it just Salah?
No, I think that it's an epidemic at the club at the moment. I think that I actually believe that the players...
Do you think they've
lost trust in Slot? Yeah, I do. Because I don't think Salah does this. If the club was completely unified and everyone was loving the manager, I don't think Mohamed Salah can do this. He can do this because he knows that he has the tacit support of his teammates. Quick prediction. Where does this end?
I think this ends with Mo Salah leaving in January. I just think that,
Do you?
Yeah,
I think the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is interesting. Obviously, if the results continue to be this bad, then there just has to reach a point where Slot goes. But actually, I feel like already this season there's been moments where I've thought that time's up really for Arne Slot. But the club seem to be putting at least a bit of faith in him, realising that he's got still that credit in the bank from winning the league. It is all a bit in disarray at the moment, but I think the most likely outcome for me is Salah leaving. And actually, you touched on it earlier. I think that's a really sad way for his Liverpool career to end. I really do. And sometimes
I think it will be.
Football.
I think the exact opposite.
Think, what, the opposite?
I think Slot will be gone. Klopp or Gerrard will be manager, or someone, or they'll go long term. So Nagelsmann, Glasner, someone like that.
Do you really think they'd go for Gerrard? Do you really? I just think
probably not, but I would. I mean, I've lived the experience. I know it's good.
Yeah.
And I'm an old romantic.
It's vibes, isn't it?
I'm an old romantic.
Yeah.
Sometimes a club needs Gerrard on the touchline. Do you know the cacophony that Anfield would be on Gerrard's debut as manager at that club? Sometimes
Liverpool,
that can carry
Neil Burnley too.
Potentially.
But I know what you mean. But I think I almost think there's too long left in the season as well. You know, I feel like if it was, if we had, I don't know, 8 games left or 10 games left, and maybe there wasn't too much for Liverpool to play for. Maybe they're in, latter stages of a cup or something like that. Then maybe you get Gerrard in. But I just feel that there's enough time left in this season, and as much as Liverpool have been quite poor, the league is so tight at the moment that there's still more than enough time to turn this around. It's just whether they're going to trust Slot with that, or that they're almost going to go with Salah.
Slot's a dead man walking, mate. Slot is a
get
dead man
another
walking. I'm convinced, but. You've heard what Ollie and I have to say. What we need to know now is what you have to say. We are putting this video up this second, and we're going to be in the comments the second it goes live. Really, really interested to hear what you have to say. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a like. Please click subscribe. This is genuinely fascinating. Let us know your thoughts. Ta-da.